experience with the volume we were doing, it was significantly cheaper to go with Source Labs than to go with EC2. And that's not just because I value my time really highly. I'm not quite that arrogant. But the amount of time spent configuring virtual machines, and with virtual machines being brought up, and with virtual machines doing stuff that I didn't care about, and dealing with problems that were there, and dealing with hanging virtual machines and stuff, I reckon it came out pretty even as to whether the added kind of value cost of a software as a service provider won out. Obviously, things aren't perfectly rosy. Like today, we had a green CI build, which is great, so we could send a release. That's not always the case. So we have a handful of problems that we still need to fix. One of our big problems is flakiness. Everyone has the problem of flakiness, right? Tests have failed once for no apparent reason. They'll never fail again, but they failed that one time. We found that basically the only thing to do is be ruthlessly vicious with tracking it down and fixing it. There was a time when I filed a bug every time a test failed for any reason, even if it was clearly something to do with the environment, just so we could track what was going on. This weekend I spent quite a bit of time tracking down the significant cause of flakiness we had, which means that our builds are green today. Last week that wasn't necessarily the case. Hand in hand with flakiness goes spam. So our IRC bot notifies us every time a test fails that a test has failed. If you have flakiness and that IRC bot is telling you every 3 minutes a test has failed, people are going to ignore them, people are going to phase them out. So attacking the flakiness, and when you know there is flakiness there, suppressing any kind of notifications. Obviously you still want to know that there is flakiness there, but you are careful to watch that closely. Suppressing those notifications if you need to, and making sure people know when you fix the flakiness, so they know they really should be paying attention, and then blaming them when they break stuff. Goes a long way, but fighting the flakiness is a huge issue. Like I said, we run 7.5 million tests a day. So one of them failing is 6, 7 nines reliability. 100 of them failing is 5 nines reliability. How many of you can say you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 nines reliability in your test suite? We don't either. It sucks. We're trying to fix it. We're getting pretty close. Speed is always an issue. So particularly if you're using kind of infrastructure as a service or software as a service, every second that your test runs costs you money. Also delays getting results. So always on the lookout for optimizing speed. There's been quite a bit of talk today about mobile browsers, which has been kind of exciting. Like we had our friends at the FT telling us about what they're doing with iPads and iPhones, and been talking to some people about their woes with iPhone testing in particular, and how the Android story not so great. We don't really have an answer for that right now. We'd love to have an answer. If anyone has an answer, please come give me your answer. It's a difficult problem. It's a problem we need to solve, or someone needs to solve. I think our biggest problem is that we run too many tests. So we run 7.5 million tests a day. Very few of those fail. Failing tests are good, because failing tests show that you're stopping problems. If you have 100% green builds, you might as well turn off your continuous integration, because all it's doing is costing you money and giving you a potential source of flakiness. So we've got a lot of ideas for how we can run fewer tests, how we can reduce that chance of flakiness, and how we can reduce the information overload of so many test runs. So maybe running tests every 5 builds, and then if something horrific, if a test fails, having automatically kind of git bisect through to find the failure. We could run 1 in 5 of the tests we do. That's cutting out more than 1 million test runs a day. That would be awesome. There's a trade-off there, right? Between having accuracy and precision and knowing exactly what's going on, and not running 6 days of tests an hour. There's a bunch of other stuff you can do too. So right now, any change to anywhere in our source code repository triggers all of our tests. That kind of sucks. Like if I've only changed something that affects Opera, why do I care about whether anything is failing in Chrome? Like those two are largely unrelated. So cutting down our dependency tree, trimming down, kind of being smarter about when we run tests, potentially a way to run fewer tests. So I think that's the end of the slide. We have a whole bunch of tests. We run a whole bunch of tests. We've gone through a bunch of different ways of trying to run them. Far and away, the easiest, nicest, best, and most accurate solution has been to use source labs. If you've never looked at an external browser provider before, I heartily encourage you to give them a try. There's a bunch of them. They all do free trials. It's worth giving it a shot. There's some problems you're going to need to solve, but they're probably easier problems than the problems you're trying to solve right now. So it's worth trying to give them your problems to deal with for you. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to do some lightning talks now.